Hey, what's happening, guys? Dan Darrow here with another options and play video update. It's been a busy start to the week. It was a busy last week, busy week before that. It's been a busy 2021. But with the good trades that we've had, there've also been some bad trades. And there have been trades recently that maybe have not worked or have stopped us out. It's part of trading. Not everything is going to work exactly how you draw it up or how you design it or how you want it to work, right? I always stress trading with stops. I think it's extremely important to have stops when you enter a trade. I've done videos talking about stops all the time, but I haven't really done videos talking about revisiting something after you get stopped out, right? So AMD, this was something that we sat in and wrote for a while, and actually we ended up making money on it. But the most recent roll up portion of the trade, of the swing trade, just got stopped out. So what was interesting to me was when AMD dropped um, after the Xilinx deal was announced. I kind of knew the story, thought the deal was okay, and I wanted to be involved for like a longer term swing trade. So when we got in, we were in like longer term options at the time. Uh, Ended up working out great. Stock really had a nice run into like the 80s and the 90s, giving opportunity to like roll up money. Then the most recent call spread was March 100 to 110, and after earnings, I instituted a new stop at the 100-day, being an important trend level of support. Right, if it were to lose the 100-day, you can see when I scroll out a bit. If it were to lose the 100-day, that probably opens it up for a move into the mid 70s. So I figured, uh, you know, uh, name that was up quite a bit, a couple months, starting to show signs of weakness. If it lost trend support, odds are it could start to make a move even further to the downside. So it didn't make sense to stick with the position, right? Like I had a thesis, it was changing, and I thought that once it lost the 100-day, that it would have ultimately broken and even continued further to the downside. So less of a reason to stick with it. So when it broke, got out, and then what do you know? A week and a half later, it's right back up, right? So now it's like, okay, I got stopped out. It bounced. When do I want to revisit options on it? Okay, so my whole thesis was, and part of the reason why I was sticking with it when it was chopping around the 90s and not going anywhere is like, if it does start to clear the high 90s and get through 100, I feel like there could be a nice pent up move, right? Because the high 90s was basically the high from August or September until it got back above it. It was chopping around, seemed to be forming a higher base. So just the fact that it's rebounded, like it got me out, it got us out underneath the 100-day, and now it's back up like 5 or 6 points. Like that to me, that's not reason enough to get back in. Like if I were sitting in this right now, there to me would not be like a significant compelling reason to jump back in because it's still well underneath resistance. It hasn't reclaimed all of its like near term levels, right? And part of the reason, or maybe one of the most significant reasons why I wanted to stick with it throughout all of this chop in December and January is because I thought if it got through the high 90s, 100, that it was going to take off, right? So it's not above all of its resistance. It's not even close near the high 90s or 100 level that really is the main focus for this trade. So it's like, yeah, do I feel great that it stopped me out and it's 6 points higher from where I got out and the options have rebounded a bit? No, absolutely. I don't feel good about that. But has it done enough and has the narrative changed enough to warrant me jumping back in and paying up for options again on it? No, right? So it's while frustrating, also you try to like approach it with a clear head, right? Like I don't want to just jump in because it's bounced a bit and my options recovered a bit if I had still been sitting in them, because ultimately like the narrative hasn't really gotten to the point where it's saying, okay, now it's going, now it's ready to take off, now it's going to scream higher, right? So once it does do that, then okay, then maybe we revisit, right? And then we can like draw up a strategy at the time where we can design. Maybe it'll be like a lower risk because we got stopped out, but we can approach it with like a new trade, a new strategy. Maybe like you call flies, call spreads, straight calls. I mean, it really all depends when it goes, what the option pricing looks like when it does go. But I just really want to wait for my thesis to start taking shape again, right? So just the fact that it bounced 5 to 6 points, that's not enough to get me off the sideline. It has to be a move that really affirms that the thesis is back in play and it's ready to go. And right now, I'm not seeing that, right? So obviously, like this example talked about AMD, but like this is kind of how I approach things in general. Like, okay, I get stopped out, so be it, right? Maybe lose some money, or maybe I give back profits. That happens. But for me to get back into it, it has to be like a thesis changing move again, right? Or the thesis has to be back in play. Otherwise, a little bounce here, a little bounce there, like that doesn't change it enough, and it's not worth me putting more money at risk if the trade really hasn't changed all that much. All right. So just I wanted to like kind of share my thought process, and I mean, and I'm totally fine getting back into things that I may have lost money in, but it just has to be the right setup, right? And that's just part of trading. All right. So if you like this video and you're looking for more information on swing trading with options or trade management with options, please follow up with the link in the description of the video for more information on options and play. I hope you have a wonderful night. Stay well, and I will talk to you all tomorrow.